Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for playing and welcome back to another sumptuous version of How to Lose a Crit Race, the YouTube series where you watch me making mistakes in what we call expert modelling as to how to go about losing a crit race should you choose to. We're racing Waratah Masters today. Waratah Masters being the masters of crit racing. And I am seriously a fish out of water here as we line up at what I think is undisputably the greatest crit track. We are on the Caden bike today and we are lining up with a huge range of numbers. We have number 28 here, an absolute legend who we're going to call, I don't know, who's the guy, the Lorax. We're going to call him the Lorax because he's all in orange, and I think from memory the movie The Lorax had this orange dude. But you will notice that we have number 28 and also just in between him there's number 100. And I'm 115 here. So we got the Lorax being very low in the numbers. We've got 16, even lower. And then I think on the left, that's Lawrence Nacchiarella, one of the tallest and biggest beasts that I've ever ridden with. I've been riding with that guy since I started riding, and we had a cute little reunion today. It was a little bit of a tearjerker and I got a little emotional. But anyway, Lawrence, I think, is number 131. Now, you might think that means there's 131 people in this race, but you would be wrong. It more seems to be that Waratah Masters is under the impression that road cycling is significantly more popular than it actually is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're lining up behind number 69 here. And I reckon he bit a few people. I reckon he did some things dirty to get that dirty nice number. I think he got the claws out. He was fighting that guy, number 100. You can see he's giving him the evil eye. He really wanted that 69. Number 64 over there with white stripes. He wanted to. He really wanted number 69. But Park Life CC here, he's come through with the goods and he's scored it. And actually, I think that's number 59. That's the biggest disappointment since St George Dragons last season, and I think we're heading for another disappointing one this season, but not as disappointing as number 59. Thinking he was number 69. Anyway, we are off and racing. Lawrence on the left. We are not going to see him for a while because it turns out that Lawrence, unlike me, knows how to crit race. But just get a look at that seat post. Look at how far out that is. Anyway, we are off and on the greatest crit track in all of New South Wales, as you will see, just based on the elevation profile at the bottom there. We are coming down a super fast section and it goes left, and then funny enough it goes right, but the right also goes over this really cool hump. This is the point where the speed really does pick up and it is just a lot of fun crit racing. We flow down here, and I was talking to Lawrence after, and you genuinely do not need to touch the brakes this entire race, especially if you're out on the front. It's just so good. Now, you can pedal strike here, so you've got to be a little bit careful. But anyway, coming up, you might be thinking, Burgess, what's going on? Your positioning, you're right at the back. Have you been learning lessons? And for that, I say joke's on you, because here I am, working my way back to the front of the pack, because that is how we do, baby. That is where we exist. That is where we feel at home. That is where we are. And you know what? Tactically, maybe not the worst move. Now, number 32 here, I think it's 38 or 68. Oh, so close to 69. And number 58 here are going to feature heavily in this race. Captain Cook here from Southern Cross CC. He is going to feature to an extent, in that he sits on the front for a little bit and does a little bit of a Burgess to no effect. If anything, he sits up. But he is, speaking of doing a Burgess, he was a true Burgess move. 32 has break. We're going to call him the Phantom because he is all in black. And you know what? not happy with him attacking and sitting on his wheel, I think let's just go for it. Now, for whatever reason, the rear camera just was not there then, but here we are, and you may be able to see that I have a bit of a gap here. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we have gapped the bunch just. And in my head, it's like, let's just do this. So me and the Phantom, we're going to go by ourselves for a little bit, and I'm going to do a lot of work here. Let me remind you, this is the first lap. Now, yes, I do have some form doing this, and yes, this is why I lose crit races, but I'm going to deflect from criticising myself for a little bit and just say, what do you think of the new overlay? I'm super happy with it. I've been playing around with Garmin Verb, and I think I've finally got it working. Tough thing with Garmin Verb is it no longer shows maps to work out where your activity syncs, but I think I've just been able to work out when I press the Garmin by listening to that sound and then syncing the start of the activity up with that. It's genius, and I think it looks really good. So anyway, yeah, you may notice that I am still on the front, but don't worry, the Phantom is going to come over my shoulder here and he's going to tell me, baby, it's just you and me. And I'm going to say, I know, I'm gassed already. And it's at this point that the Phantom is going to say, let's go, some balls to the wall. And I just don't have it at this point. You'll see heart rate 183. I am knackered. I got here and I jumped straight into the race. I didn't have time to do any warm up. This is just me being me. And yeah, I guess I was just excited, but he's got me. I've dropped oil and I spend a good amount of time. Like, I reckon this is a minute, maybe even two, just trying to get back onto the wheel here, and I'm finally there. You can see I'm pushing out 500 watts to try and get back there, and now I've got to really suck in the big ones. And we're sort of doing lap by lap turns here, and I've just spent half a lap trying to get back, and that's the downhill section, and now we're on the uphill section, as you can see by the profile there, just another subtle plug to the new hectic overlay. And you can see I'm pushing out like 400 watts here. This is supposed to be my brake before I go and take a turn. Now, if you look in the screen at the top, there is no one behind us, and at this point I'm thinking we might have actually done this, but just coming into frame here, you will see 3 riders, and they are people that are trying to bridge the gap. Now, it's at about this point that I looked over my shoulder and I saw old mate, the Phantom here, he's doing some real hard power, and I thought, excuse the French, but fuck this, what are we doing? Like, there are 3 people that could potentially bridge over to us. We could make this a solid group of 5, and we are great guns. I don't think I've got the ability to stay away in B grade masters, but I do have the ability to stay away with 5 people. So anyway, you can see I'm sort of easing off. I think the Phantom wants me to take over here, and I'm just not keen because I really want these guys to come back. Now, this could have been critical. I think maybe if I'd overtaken here and really put in a turn, we might have been able to stay away, but spoiler alert, this brake's gonna fail. I'm basically gonna sit and let these guys come back in the hope that they will add, I guess, some power to this. For whatever reason here, I decide, even though I swear that's tactically what I'm thinking, in my head I think, you know what, I'm gonna roll a turn here. So you can see I'm not putting out crazy power here though, and this is also a pretty good point to do a turn. It's downhill slightly here before a slight rise. You can probably see that on the camera and also on the profile here. Slight pinch up here towards the finish line, and then we're in that big long downhill section. So if you are going to do a turn, this is probably the spot. Now, I saw a bloke on the right here doing a piss just before the race started, and I thought, oh, that's a bit interesting. But it turns out he was actually looking for a snake. Apparently a snake had been spotted on the route. But you can see that we've been caught here. Now, there is a little boy blue. We're going to call him Papa Smurf. So Papa Smurf is he's going to have a crack. He's going to roll past, and he's going to say something along the lines of, let's all work together. And yeah, great idea, bro. That's actually what we're all trying to do. I hear, and I'm all for it. you can see he comes past, or he's about to come past just here. We've got Lorax, and we've also got Hayden, who was featured in a couple of these. So he comes back here, and he has a shout over my shoulder, let's work together, guys, let's work together. And I'm like, mate, let's do it. So anyway, 58 here, pay attention. Pay attention to his right elbow, and you try and tell me how long he's on the front here before that elbow starts wagging like a chicken wing. I reckon it's about here, so let's just wait and see. Wait for it. Wait for it. There's the flick. There it is. Sweet work, bro. Thanks for doing a solid turn. I genuinely appreciate you coming through. Let's all work together, he says. He does what, maybe 200, 300 meters. Now he's flicking me through. Like, come on, bro. Just on the front. But anyway, because I'm me. I'm a nice guy. I am. What can I say? Even the people that don't like me say I'm a nice guy. So anyway, I come through. And yeah, there he is. Thanks for playing. So in white there, that's Hayden. Absolute champion. You would have seen him. I'm going to start calling him the Ox, I think, because he's an absolute unit. His girlfriend is on a training program, and he's following it, and apparently it's got quite a few hills, and he is struggling because he's a big unit. So we've got in this group the Phantom, the Ox, the Lorax, and Papa Smurf. And I think Papa Smurf might have just completely dropped off there. So yeah, thanks for playing. Maybe not, maybe he's there, but what you will see in the background is the group coming back. And at this point, you will be sitting there counting on your little fingers, saying, Burgess, you've done a good chunk of this race on the front. And yeah, I have. This is the Phantom trying his best to stay away. Now, the Phantom for the remainder of this race is going to do, let's just say, some interesting tactics. Not criticising anyone on this channel anymore. It gets us in trouble, and it gets us shirt-fronted like Tony Abbott did to Vladimir Putin at races. And I'm not about that. It's not a fun experience. And so we are not criticising, we are just saying they were interesting tactics here. Questionable, some may say. But I'm holding his well because I've got a good feeling about 32. Never won a game of roulette, but I'm sure if I did, I would not be good about it because my bet's on 32. Let's just say they don't come through. But anyway, we got the Ox behind us, we got Papa Smurf, then we got the Lorax, and we are flying at 56 kilometers an hour as we come around here. We try not to pedal strike. You can see not a lot of pedaling happens on the way through that corner, and then we are again on the uphill section. Now, this suits me a little bit. I consider myself a little bit of a climber, but not like a good climber. Not like an inch slack, like a long climber. I guess some people might call you a puncher. But I think a puncher is just a shit climber that was never a sprinter. And so they hope for these little piddly hills that really everyone else can get over. And I don't really know what the point of a puncher is. I guess maybe they come through in the classics, but let's be honest, a crit race is not the classics. But also, I think this track could be the track for a puncher. And if I were ever to be anything, let's face it, if I was going to be anything, I would be a domestic. I would be put on the front, I would be burnt. And then I would be left to try and complete the race myself. Because all I seem to be good at is just getting on the front and burning myself off. But what you'll see is that 32 still on the front because he is a gangster with a capital G. But like I said, questionable tactics. But we love him for it. And the Ox and Papa Smurf are on the back still. Now, I am going to do a little thing here for pretty much the remainder of the race, except for a few little cracks. Hayden at the end coined me the leech in this race because my tactics for the remainder of this race, and I don't think that they were bad, my tactics were to basically leech off whoever was attacking. I tried to keep my nose out of the wind as much as I could, as you will see here, and really just try and, I guess just stick on. So we're going to see, I think number 58 is about to roll through here, or some of these St. George guys maybe, but the race really just starts to enter a bit of a chill section here. At the end, Hayden comes past 32, the Phantom here, and he says, mate, how do you even still have legs left? Because what you're going to notice in this is that the Phantom spends an inordinate amount of time on the front, and boy do we love him for it. But also, it's confusing now. Just pay attention to my heart rate before I shut up for a little bit and roll the tunes. I'm 163 beats per minute. I'm feeling fresh. So anyway, let's speed this up for a little bit, because as we see, 32 roll through, and I'm sitting at 100 and something watts. I'm very comfortable at the moment. Well, 32 is not. So let's keep going until something exciting happens. Okay, so we are going to jump in here because we are going to have a new mover and shaker here, and this is the Master. He is wearing the Waratah Master jersey, and you might not be able to see, but he has just gone off the front there. I think his number is 38. Maybe a bit sketchy there, but he's gone, and it is a solid attack. And there's not really heaps of will to follow him. Here we've got number 58. The Let's Work Together Papa Smurf here. And ahead we have what I'm going to call, there's those lollies. I can't remember what it is, and I don't want to call him a lolly, so I'm going to call him 7-Eleven. His kit looks a little bit like the old 7-Eleven kit, so we're going to call, is it number 25? He's going to be, from here on out, 7-Eleven. Now, he is an absolute gangster, and he's going to feature a little bit later. And on the front there, we've got, I think this dude's from St. George Cycling Club, or something akin to that. And anyway, what you will see is us slowly reeling the Master in, but there are some attacks to try and bridge across to him, and that sort of amps the race up a little bit. But I wanted to give this dude his due, because he is going to feature a little bit later. This attack goes nowhere, and spoiler alert, neither do any of these other ones, but he is a bit of a hero. He is a crack, and you know what? I think crit racing is all about getting out there and having a crack, so let's keep this ball rolling. Alright, so if you think, oh yeah, you've been sitting in for a little bit, yeah I have, but we're about to go again, and there's the Master going over my shoulder, and I think I probably should follow this. But Papa Smurf is in the group, and Papa Smurf just isn't working with anyone at the moment. So we are going to catch this, but again, it's another one where 32 is just having a crack, and he's on the front there. He's a bit like me. We are kindred spirits, and we did do a lot of racing in this together, because I feel like, you know those racing games where like you race and then the next time you have an avatar that's doing the track and your goal is to like beat that avatar. A little bit of an elbow flick. I love an elbow flick, especially when you're not really gutsing it. Just know that I'm behind you and I'm going to have a go. I feel like he is my avatar, or maybe I'm his avatar, but here we go. Pulling him back, and it's number 58 on the front again. And I don't know, I chased this thinking maybe I could put the power down and get a split. I do get a little bit of a split, but then 58, is it 58? Papa Smurf is just sitting up again, and it was just a bit frustrating. It felt like there were a couple of times where you'd get in a break. Honestly, it felt a little bit, and this is not directed at anyone in particular, it's just the race in general felt a little bit like, not difficulty wise, but just tactics wise, a bit like when I was racing in C grade, and it was really hard to find people that would actually be willing to work with you. So at this point, I'm just, I'm going by myself. Let's just call it what it is. I'm out by myself, and this is going to continue for the foreseeable future. So what we might do at this point is just we might speed this up because yeah, I'm out here for a little while. I'm out here hanging. And in my head here, I'm thinking, you know what? Just TT, get in the zone, put out your FTP, which for me is where I'm sitting about now, 276. I think after this, Garmin said your FTP. Well done, buddy. You've got an FTP of 276, and you know what? I gapped them. Look in that rear camera. They're gone. They are actually gone. And at this point, I'm just thinking, maybe I'm just not far enough ahead. For those of you not watching the timer, we're about 20 minutes into this race. 55 minutes plus one lap is what they said it would be. So I've got, 30 minutes out here to dangle by myself. But there's a gap. And this has a lot of turns in it. And it's a lot of undulations. And if you can just get away, people forget about you. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking, put it down, baby, put it down. You could do this. So we're going to fast forward to the point where I'm not doing this. So just, yeah, let's get back to that. Alright, so a lap and a half out by myself and you will see them coming back, and yeah, I just... They toyed with me, but here I am, I'm back. I'm back in the group, and look who it is. Who would it be? If not me, who else is going to be bringing it back but the Phantom? But he plays me dirty. He brings back the group and he lets me dangle, and so I think, you know what, screw this, I'm just dropping the watts off, and I really chill. And I think a little bit further up here, I just pull right over and I say, someone else do it. Because, yeah, I was a little bit heartbroken. I dared to dream. There were a couple of times where I looked over my shoulder, and as you would have seen in the rear view mirror there, things were looking good. And it just, I don't know. Maybe it was naive. There's a tree root here, by the way. Always gets ya. Don't hit it too hard if you're on the left hand side, or you might lose your back wheel and slip a little bit, and it can just be a bit scary. If there's an attack there and you hit that tree root, it can give you the, gets your heart racing. But anyway, still in the front, just in case you're wondering, but we are going to fast forward again because nothing too exciting is coming up. Just jumping in here to say here goes the Master again, and 58 is off again. Yeah, this is a good move by the Master in 58, and I think you'll find that 32 may end up bringing both the Master and Papa Smurf numero 58 back, but he might not also. There was a little boy in blue, and it might have been 58, who ends up proper getting away here. Wow, Centennial Park CC in the back there. Chris Miller Cycling Podcast. Really big, wide, I'm having a drink from the bottle sort of signal. What a legend. No one's going to crash around him. As we've got the Lorax coming through on the right hand side. And yeah, actually, maybe I'm being a bit critical. This is a good break, because number 32 has a look over and says, is anyone going to do anything? And of course, I put my hand up and I say, buddy, I'm here for you. I'm here to half wheel you, it seems. It looks like I go straight onto him again. Which, you know what, I'm proud of my tactics there. 32 wants to do the work, 32 can do the work. But anyway, let's fast forward this bad boy for a little bit. Alright, yeah, guilty as charged, that's me pulling back the Master, but I've got a little bit of a break here, and I think in my head you can just see 58 ahead, and this is the point where I think maybe I can bridge to 58. And if I were to bridge to 58, maybe I could be good. Now, this is also, I believe, the lap with the prim. And the prim here, for those of you who do not know what a prim is, think about it like an intermediate sprint. I guess it's prizes for people that are not good at completing an entire race, but can go fast for half a race. I've never won a prim. I have won races, but not many. So who am I to talk? But anyway, in my head, it's maybe I could at least win the prim, but also maybe I could get with 58. He's not been the best partner, but maybe we could work together and we could get away. And so I'm sort of pushing it, really hoping I can bring this gap down. In my head, this is the move. And look, to be fair, 58 never comes back. 58 has an interesting race, but he never comes back. And if I were able to catch him, as you can see, my heart rate is really maxing out here at 188. I think 196 is my peak heart rate, so I'm really close to 100% here. I'm absolutely flying. You can see him as a speck off in the distance, so the prim is gone. I actually at this point would like to bring up what happens to 58, because it is an interesting sort of outcome, and I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. Essentially, 58 ends up drafting A grade for a period of time, and as a result, he's relegated from the race. He would have won, and at least I think that's what happened, is he was relegated because you're not allowed to draft the grade ahead of you. I think for quite obvious reasons. If you're racing in B and you jump on A, you're going to do not a lot of work and go quite a bit faster, and so as a result it's not okay. If you're in A, you're allowed to draft off B because you're unlikely to win A drafting in a B, but you can't draft off the grade in front of you. I think I made that pretty clear. So anyway, 58, Papa Smurf, he ends up drafting, and I'm not saying this because I'm spiteful. I genuinely think he rode a really good race, and apparently he didn't know the rules. I don't really know whether that flies, as I'm about to get caught here. I think most people know that that is a rule, that you can't do that in Sydney crit racing, but you know, whatever. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But he wins the prim even though he's relegated from the race. Now, I don't care so much about the money, but I know that if you win the green jersey, you have to at least finish the race. And yes, technically he finished the race, but he didn't finish the race legally. And you may come back and say, well, when he won the prim, he wasn't, I guess he wasn't racing illegally when he won the prim. And again, I just don't really have an issue with that. I had expected that he would be relegated completely. And I thought I might win the prim when I saw that he was drafting A little bit later. I thought I might get a little bit lucky. I'm not disappointed, genuinely think he deserved it. But yeah, really interested to see what you think about that. Yeah, I'm happy either way. I'm happy with the outcome. Genuinely think he deserved it. He did an amazing move, which I was incapable of doing as the group comes back, and my attempts to catch Papa Smurf are gone. But here comes the Ox, and he is taking over in his little purple bike, and yeah, Hayden is really coming strong, and I'm really proud of the dude, because he's had a bit of a rough year, a bit of an up and down year, and he is far becoming a better bike rider than I am. And he's just so giving. He's just, if you ever race with Hayden, he's just a genuinely nice bloke that will just put in a sesh for you, and he's doing it here for me. I don't think Hayden has designs on winning this himself necessarily. He just wants to get his mates to the finish line. He's done it so many times for me at Penrith, and there's been a few times where he's really given me a second life. So maybe what we should call him, if we were creating a squad, like a Rainbow Six Siege kind of squad, or like an Apex Legends, maybe he would be like the medic. So maybe that's what he should be instead of the Ox. I don't know. Or maybe we should call him I don't know. Comment nicknames for Hayden. I'm interested to see what you come up with because yeah, he definitely deserves one. I think the Ox does him well. I like how this guy's number 5 and I'm number 105. It's interesting. Anyway, let's fast forward because I'm just talking shit at the moment. Alright, so we're not jumping in for anything other than to say that A grade is passing here, and I did meet someone who is subscribed to the channel, and he asked me specifically if I could include the section where A grade passes so that he could see himself on one of these videos. So I hope you're there, mate. I hope you get to see yourself racing past, and this is the point, by the way, where A grade is going to pass Papa Smurf, and Papa Smurf is going to jump on the back of A grade. Again, he sort of does the like, well, what do I do? Well, you sit up, I guess, mate. It's hard, or you just go into the wind and you don't use their draft, I guess. It's a tough situation sometimes. We've had situations where someone's attacked and they've attacked into the grade below us as opposed to above us. So into like a D grade from a C grade, I think it was. And it's sort of like well, what do I do? Like, you kind of have to try and pass them, and that's an awkward situation. We've also had another situation where D grade was on the last lap and someone had attacked, but we needed to clear the track because we were coming down to the sprint, and D grade was sprinting for the finish and we didn't want to be in the way, so no one could really attack onto this. Should that guy sit up, or has he just made a really good move? Racing can be complicated sometimes, especially when you've got multiple grades. But I think you just need to do what sits best ethically, in my personal opinion. And then at least at the end of the race, even if you do get relegated, no one can really call you a dick for it. And I think that's just how you got to guide it. Like, would I be happy if someone else was doing this? And if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't do it. And that's not me having a dig at old mate. Again, I don't really know where he stands in regards to knowing the rules. But yeah, having a chat to him is a perfectly nice guy, and I don't think he'll be doing that in the future. So anyway, let's fast forward because not a lot is going to happen. But yeah. So I said not a lot's going to happen, but it turns out I'm attacking. Here we go again. You'll see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laps to go, and I'm having a crack. We've got the usual faces here. We've got the Phantom, we've got the Lorax, and Papa Smurf is Gonskis, but this one just never really gets away. The group manages to stay. Really disappointed in that. I thought maybe it was a good time to go. I'd had a look down, seen that we were at about the 40-minute mark, which means 15 minutes to go. I thought maybe I could just put out a little bit above the FTP. I'd been having a bit of a rest, as Hayden would say. I'd been leeching. You would notice I haven't really done much lately, and yeah, I thought maybe it was my time to shine, but as you can see, not really doing much except almost running myself into a tree there and burning matches that I don't really have. So yeah, I'm gonna veer off once we come around here because I am stick a fork in with me, baby. I am done, and I'm not really interested in pulling it around. So I go back to being an absolute parasite in this race, and we're gonna go back to fast forwarding this because yeah, just another failed attack as I pull off and go back to sucking the lifeblood out of other people. Normally, as you see, is that it's the Phantom. Alright, now I'm having a look down at my time, and obviously on here it might be a bit misleading, but in my head I have a go here because I think there's 2 laps left. I always just was under the impression that there was more than one, and I knew this dude was out on front, and I thought maybe I could latch onto him and we could go together. Now he completely sits up here, which was a bit disappointing, little legs 11 here. But I genuinely thought maybe I had a crack there, and so I just kept it going because I was under the impression that there's 2 to go, 55 plus, but then we see the B grade sign. That means it's the last lap, so if I'm having a crack, I've got to have a crack on this lap here. I'm not winning a sprint. You've probably watched enough of these to know that I just, when it comes to sprinting, I suck. Let's call a spade and say I'm just bad at sprinting. It's something that I know that I need to work on, but I'm just not good at putting out that level of power for that amount of time. I'm better at sort of situations where I can put out sort of a medium level power for a longer period of time. Hence me saying, you know, I'm probably more of a puncher or even a domestique where I can just sit at, like, I guess if I was good, I would be a diesel engine, but I'm not good, so I guess I'm just an engine that runs inefficiently on diesel. I think often, like, oh, he's a diesel engine is used as like a term of endearment. If I could put out cool watts, I would be that. But anyway, here I am on the front on the last lap, exactly where you don't want to be. But you know what? This is balls to the wall racing, and so I decide, as we're coming up sort of the last section to have an attack, it's time to go. And I don't know what the power thing's doing there, because I'm putting out way more power than this. But this is about the point in the race where I decide I've got to do something. Because if I don't, I'm going to lose this race. I've got to make an attack, and it has to be on this steeper section. And so just as we come around here, you can see it better on the elevation map. This section coming up here is a bit of a pinch, and so here we go. I'm going to have a crack at trying to distance the group here, and it's just wholly ineffective. I wasn't really looking over my shoulder this part. I was really just trying to put down some watts, but yeah, it's completely ineffective, and that's probably because I've just burnt too many matches up to this point. And we are coming round, that's the second last turn, really. I mean, if you consider this, I guess it's a turn, and then it's a left-hand turn, and we're away. I think my rear vision camera has done something interesting there, because that's not the finish, so ignore that. But I'm away here, and I was starting to think, boy, you can do this, but then the bunch, and I'm swallowed here. And for a second, I think maybe if I can stay on the Lorax's wheel, maybe we can get the win. As you can see, 32 there, he's thinking the same. And yeah, it turns out that 32 and I, even though he gives it a better crack than I do, we are kindred spirits in more ways than one. But it turns out that I am well and truly his avatar, because he raced better than I did. But yeah, that's the finish there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how to finish adequately. Yes, in a crit race. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you did. Really appreciate it. And yeah, if you don't, go blow it out your ass. Anyway, cheers. And yeah, if you see me out on a race, come and say hi. It was really nice seeing old mate. See yous.